Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Retro84Cast. My name is Dom and I'll be the host. This week I am joined by the Retro Reviver himself, Aaron.
How you doing?
Hey. And as well as Aaron, we've got two special guests. We've got Retro Joe.
Hello.
How you doing, Joe?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm looking forward to this podcast.
Awesome.
And the evil genius, Dr. Ropatnik.
Hello.
We've got Patrick with us. How you doing?
I'm alright, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to let the listeners in on a secret here. We actually attempted a podcast last week, but due to audio issues, we had to scrap it. So we're starting afresh, and hopefully things will go a little bit more to plan this week. So I thought what we'd do is we'd start the podcast with kind of a wrap-up of what we've done in the past week relating to gaming or relating to the group. So Aaron, I don't know whether you've been up to much this week. Do you want to get
let
things
me have a
rolling?
think. I don't generally have too much time for gaming during the week. The free time I do have in the days, I usually spend running around the charity shops trying to find bargains. I've been trying to get rid of £18 worth of CEX credit from some tradings every single day, and there's just nothing coming through. I really wish they'd let you transfer stock from other stores so you can grab something, but I'm looking for GameCube games, and 18 quid would probably get me two pretty decent ones, but
Yeah.
the more time elapses, the more it's burning a hole in my pocket, and I'm staring at things that I probably shouldn't be buying. It's like, oh, do I need that copy of... do I need to pay £18 for a copy of Smash Brothers for the Wii? No, not really. So hopefully, if I keep sticking my nose into CX, I'll see Metroid Prime 2 and a nice copy of Luigi's Mansion or something.
That would be nice.
Can you not buy can you not buy from a website or anything like that?
Well, you can, Joe, but I'll tell you how much of a faff it is. They don't, although they do allow you to use your store credit, you have to buy it yourself first, not knowing the condition, because bear in mind this is CEX and it could be completely scratched and no manual, and you have to buy it yourself out your own pocket, and then you have to post your receipt to them after.
Oh, you're joking.
And then you're also paying shipping fees, and you kind of have to hope that they'll match up that receipt to your original purchase and somehow refund you. God knows how long the refund will take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Basically, they don't want you to do it, but they have to offer it, so they're making it as difficult as possible.
I mean, just allow you to transfer stock between stores, because their online service allows you to see what is available where. And you should just be able to go in and say, look, this is in Derby, have it sent over. I'll pay first or whatever. Well, not even pay first, because you have to check the discs in CEX.
But I mean, other stores will let you have game stock shipped just to that store completely for free in a couple of days. Because I mean, they're making transfers between stores anyway. So
we just chuck it on the lorry and that's that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what you should do, Aaron. You should generously donate it to a Freebie Friday. How about that?
Well, let's see how long. Let's see how long this goes on for.
And then each week, you can add a couple of quid to it, a couple of quid more, and eventually there'll be enough shop
how about
credit
this
there for a new console.
How about this as a generous offer? I will sell the credit to somebody, the £18 credit for the price
for $17.99.
Yeah, the low price.
It's either that or I'm hanging outside CEX waiting for somebody to buy something and then jumping in.
Have a sandwich board on you.
Trade it for some magic
we'll
beans.
dance for bargains.
Yeah, but no, that's about all this week for me.
That sounds frustrating.
Yeah.
Joe, what about you? Have you been up to much?
Yes, last week I went to a car boot and I bought a game. I got home and the game wasn't in the case.
Right.
What game was that?
I think it's Sonic Gems Collection or something for PC. 50p well spent for the case, I think.
I'll tell you what, I did see in a charity shop the other day, that exact same disc.
the disc, not the case. That would be awesome. I decided to get the Mega Drive down from the loft, plugged it in,
Finally.
and I'm missing the RF cable, which
Well
I'm
done,
sure
man.
is in another box in the loft. So
Yeah, I'll be there
at,
somewhere.
at least the Mega Drive looks good anyway.
I tell you what's a project for you, Joe. Then
Sorry.
I tell you what's a project for you now with your new soldering skills.
Yeah.
Just
Skills?
solder a couple of sound and video jacks onto the motherboard.
Yeah. Just to improve it.
Save you some time. Just find something else that's got the three the red, yellow, and white, and then just chop the end off, and then just solder it straight to the Mega Drive.
I might try and butcher it. I'll give it a go.
Well, you get a better picture than RF anyway, and you'll be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many fingers will he have left after that?
Well,
He'll have just one really swollen finger.
amazingly, I haven't burnt myself yet. I've tackled
Still
2
waiting.
Game Gears and I've recapped one of them, which isn't working still, and I've done half of another one. I need to finish that off, and then presumably that won't be working. But hey, it's good practice.
I had a thought though, and it may be completely unfounded. Have you tried disconnecting the soundboard?
No.
There might be a short in the soundboard that wipes the whole thing off, and if you disconnected it, it might just allow you to test that.
Okay, I'll give that one a go. I never thought of that.
It's just
I've checked over all the caps, all the solder, and everything looks fine as it should be. I used the one I bought off you as a guide, and they're pretty much symmetrical, similar. I mean, so I don't know. I'll try what you said.
Just try the other one.
Yeah, so there's
Like you say, it's
definitely
good
a short
practice.
somewhere because it just cuts out after 1 second. But I think it's a common problem, so I'll get to
If anybody listening knows a solution to a Game Gear that powers on for a second and then turns off, it's not the power boards though, is it? Because we've recapped those.
Yeah. But with this one, I've just bought off eBay for the grand sum of, what was it, £2.76 or something with adapter. I'm hoping that if I just recap the power on that, hopefully that'll be working, because I think it doesn't turn on at all.
How many Game Gears will that be in your collection then?
Only 4.
Was there ever a 4-way link cable for the Game Gear? Get some insane Game Gear LAN action going on.
I think Aaron could probably mod one.
Yeah.
Bit
blow
of
my
gaffer
mind.
tape.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they never made an adapter to play your Game Gear games on your Mega Drive in big
Like a
screen.
Super Game Boy style thing.
Yeah, I suppose
cool.
essentially
Yeah.
most Game Gear games are Master System games, really, aren't they? They're just ports.
Well,
but
there is a really boring reason why they didn't, and it's just because the Game Gear is more powerful than the Master System.
oh yeah,
It's got a larger color palette, and I think a few other bits that just don't allow it. And the reason you can play Master System games on a Mega Drive at all is because there is Master System hardware in a Mega Drive, but nothing more powerful than that. All these Game Gear converters Master System converters for Mega Drive, all they're doing is literally changing the cartridge configuration so it works.
Right.
Getting the signal from one thing to the other thing. But yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
Anything else, Joe?
yeah. I've
we
also
move on to
bought Back to the Future 3 for Master System.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
That good.
I don't own a Master System, so I bought a converter off Aaron, put it in my converter, and nothing. So I think there is a catalogue of games which do not work with a Game Gear converter, and this may be one of
Oh
them.
really?
What, really?
Yeah, I've read that. I've read somewhere there's a list of games that don't work.
Does Back to the Future 3 fall into that?
I presume so. I haven't checked.
Oh man.
I would just check the cart. You probably might
Yeah.
need to clean the contacts on the cartridge.
Yeah, that's another
I've never known.
I've also bought some Surgical Spirit for the grand total of 99p. I went on a right shopping spree. I got loads of bargains the other day. I bought Air in a can. That's one I was most excited about. It was
You said Aaron in a
£2.50.
can.
Yeah, compressed
Yeah, me
air.
too.
Who knew you could buy air?
I've never had any joy with compressed air.
Really?
Oh, dear.
What, just finding it,
I think
or-
I just buy bad ones, and then I end up having like
It's just a fart in a can.
I end up trying to use it, and then the whatever I'm spraying just ends up wet.
Really?
Oh, maybe
the whole point was in buying it was so that
propellant.
I'm not blowing into cartridges and things
Yeah,
and
yeah.
getting it wet.
I mean, I must have just been buying cheap air, if that's at all possible.
Well, this one's Fellows, which is quite a good brand. You know, they make paper shredders and stuff like that. It was $2.50 from Wilco, so I'm happy with it.
You might have been holding it a little bit too close, and it was the propellant or whatever.
Maybe. I don't know. I just stopped using it after that. I've always thought of getting one of those little USB Hoovers.
Oh, Henry Hoover. You can get a mini one, can't you? Yeah.
You know, the ones with the little brush on the end. I think that'd be pretty good for getting dust out of a motherboard. But if they sell them in Poundland, I've never tried them. That's how invested I am in getting this thing. I look at it every time for £1. I think, do I want to spend £1 on this thing? It's probably rubbish.
£1. Oh dear.
What about you, Patrick? Have you done much in the way of gaming this week?
Who's Patrick? I only know Dr. Ropatnik.
Oh, funny man, funny. Yes, I've been concocting another evil scheme. It usually involves Mega Drives. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yep. Gauntlet 4, really. Just obsessive playing
I
of
saw
that.
your post.
Yeah, I've got my 4-player adapter.
Box, no less.
Still fresh in the box and plastic. It's very nice.
Wow.
So yeah, just the only difficulty now is getting 4 people to play.
So is that one you played back in the day, or is it something that you kind of
Yes,
got an appreciation for?
I've always had the
recently?
cartridge on its own. Someone gave it to me for free.
Oh, wow.
Can't remember who it was. He had a whole plastic bag full of cartridges, and I got the likes of Thunder Force.
A stranger
3,
came up to you with a
East
bag
Rock.
full of goodies.
Not.
and said,
It wasn't just in the street, and it was. It's like it was
Okay,
somebody
good to
I
know.
knew, and I can't remember anymore. It wasn't like, "Oi, you want some free games?"
Smell this rag.
So, this is totally legit. No, I can't remember who it was, but he had Gauntlet 4, and that pretty much introduced me to dungeon crawling. It was such a shock to the system when I'm so used to the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I'm in a dungeon fighting off all manner of beasts, boosting up my armor, attack skills, eating
you
food.
You're fighting solo at the moment, then?
Pardon?
You're fighting through solo at the moment?
Yeah, doing the quest mode on solo.
Does it scale at all? Like, is it easier with one person than it would be with 4, or is it pretty brutal?
It depends, because obviously the characters are all different skills. You got a wizard who's a lot better at magic, so when he picks up the clear screen of enemies item, it does a lot more damage. But he's not so good in combat. Then you've got the warrior who can pretty much just jump into a pile of enemies and barely a scratch. So I love it. I love playing. Played with Joe a couple of times on the Xbox Live Arcade version, which is just an arcade port.
There was 3 of us playing it, and about an hour in, me and my friend who were playing it realised we kept on dying. Patrick hadn't died once. So we were moaning, and Patrick was sitting there laughing and almost crying with laughter. And I said, "What's so funny?" And then we figured out he's using like a health boost.
There's the insert coin button.
Insert coin button, that's the one.
The beauty of Gauntlet. Just
So
shove in imaginary coins.
He was using this as cannon fodder, really.
Surely you would have noticed it said 10,000 health on the side.
We didn't notice.
You didn't notice. Health went up to 99,000. I managed to get that far.
And there was me struggling with 100 health.
No, they're like, what is that sound? What is that gong sound?
Gong.
Like the distinctive coin inserted sound.
They just thought it was some weird part of the soundtrack.
Every now and then you'd hear gong 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 gong.
Gong 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 gong.
That would be incredibly sneaky if he didn't match it up to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tactic he hasn't learnt yet.
Not only is he like...
I didn't need that kind of subtlety to disguise it.
Is it possible?
Not only does he have
to,
unlimited lives and like loads of health, he's also matching like he's playing a rhythm game too with the insert coin.
Bishy-bashy.
Yeah.
There you go, top tip for the expert players of Gauntlet. Oh, bishy bashy. That's a
Oh,
game
man.
we need to play.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh, mate.
Maybe sometime we can get like a podcast crew session of Gauntlet and Bishi Bashi.
Yes.
Like get some 4-player action for that stuff.
Make it happen, mate.
Yeah,
One
make it
controller
happen.
in each hand.
yeah, both at the same time.
Yes.
Cool.
It's sort of endurance game, and
Yeah. All right, so one of the weekly features for people that don't know, there's the Facebook group Retro84, and one of the weekly features that we do is we have a member of the group post up a fairly obscure game, and we all play it together. So throughout the week we can sit down and play it, and it's been a couple of weeks since this one, but we thought the perfect game to talk about this time would be Asterix for the Mega Drive.
Master System.
So for Master System even, sorry.
Yeah.
This was Aaron's pick.
Yeah, it was. I had to think kind of long and hard. There was a few that I wanted to do. I suppose with the game club, we have to have something that's relatively easy for people to grab and kind of get started playing. More people have played this than I actually thought. When I wrote up the review, and I was kind of pitching it as a bit of a hidden gem, but then I guess that only really applies to people outside of Europe, because most people, I think, had played it. Am I right, Joe?
Yeah, I'd never
Patrick?
played that game before. As per usual, me and Patrick played for it together, and it was quite challenging, but it was fun.
Absolutely.
It had a lot of
more
replay
challenging-
value as well, because I don't think there's a game over, is there? Or is there unlimited continues?
It was unlimited continue.
You can just keep continuing, yeah.
I recall that we just gave up in the end. It's just I think
It was getting
we ran
late.
out of steam. Yeah, it was.
So just before we move on to our kind of impressions about the game, I just wanted to touch on something Aaron briefly mentioned. When you were saying that it's more of an obscure game outside of Europe.
Yeah, it was made by Sega of Japan, but it was only released in Europe. So people outside of Europe, Japan included, as far as I'm aware, never got to play it. The sequel came out, but never this one. So I guess Ross had never played it, but he's British anyway. But I mean, a few people had, but then playing it back, it's a lot different than I remember it. Doing the write-up, I hadn't then revisited it, but playing it back, it is a lot harder than I originally thought.
Yeah.
I guess I was better at video games when I was younger, but I think by about World 2.2, I just came to a brick wall. And if anybody hasn't played it, basically you get a choice of Asterix and Obelix, and their levels are quite different, although thematically the same. They take different paths, and I just came to a brick wall with certain characters and had to switch to the other one. The example I'm thinking of is probably World 2.2. It's one of those annoying stages that seems to be in most platform games where the screen scrolls from left to right and you have to catch up. And there was a section with a platform and you had to destroy the platform and to drop down onto it. And the timing was just so precise with Asterix, I just had to give up and move to the Obelix level. And to this day, I don't think I've ever seen the end of that World 2.2.
I remember that level. That was good fun. I enjoyed watching Joe fail. He was
every
Obelix and had to
time.
fit his fat arse through a really small hole.
With two-player, you get to play each level in turn. So Pat will go first as Asterix, and then I would play as Obelix. And if I died or lost a life, Patrick would then play the next level, and the next, and the next, and the next.
Dragging
So,
a dead Obelix along with him.
Yeah, dragging a
Across
corpse
Europe.
along each,
It's not an
each
easy
country.
task.
So I couldn't get back into a game until Patrick lost all of his lives, I think. So you were
Joe had a
solo
really
for a
good time
while.
at it.
And then I was back in the game, and then I died straight away. So,
Yeah.
so I need a
And
bit
I had
more
to
practice.
proceed to tell you what,
Where
I'm
are
glad.
Where are the Asterix and Obelix characters from originally? Is it French? Is it?
Yeah,
French?
I think I always thought it was French.
Yes.
comic book.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, there's an option to play the entire game in French.
Oh, really?
On the
If
title
you really want to immerse yourself in the world
Yeah.
of...
Trivia: the Asterix land in France used to be the most popular theme park there until Disneyland Paris came along.
Whoa.
I really want to go there. I think it still exists. I think there still is the Asterix theme park there. It was there last time I went.
I remember there was a toy shop in Burton Market when I was maybe, I guess I was 7, 7 or 8ish, where I went and bought all the little Asterix toys from there. They were just, you couldn't buy them anywhere else, I guess, so they're just taking it off their own back to import them. But I was a big fan. I still think it's a really cool comic. But and the game, although it is incredibly hard, there are still things I really enjoy about it. The soundtrack, I think, is really great. It's a really good example of Master System sound, a lot of synths and kind of like fading in and out, and I think the animation is really good on the sprites, especially when he goes up and they go up and down the pipes. But it's certainly reminiscent of a lot of other games.
We noticed a lot of similarities between that and Sonic and Mario as well. And there was some good side-scrolling levels, which was different. Made it quite hard. Like if a screen's scrolling across and you have to jump on a platform, duck down, jump onto another platform before the screen hits you and pushes you to your doom. So
all the while blowing up bricks.
It doesn't. I found that the levels are basically just an idea. It's not like basic progression from left to right all the time. There's some levels that seem incredibly short, and your only goal is just to open a door.
Yeah.
But then you have to solve various puzzles and take various routes through a labyrinth in order just to get the key and get back to where you were. So it seems like they had a lot of ideas and they tried them out, and some levels are better than others, some are shorter or longer than the others, but the difficulty is probably the only constant that keeps you going.
Has anyone played the sequel?
No.
I think I had it on the Mega Drive, but I don't think I ever actually played it. I think I just bought it out car boot and just chucked it straight onto eBay.
Well done, Joe.
It was just interesting to see whether they learnt from the first one and the mechanics were refined at all or anything.
Maybe they saw Europe as a bit of a test market.
Yeah,
for this game.
Guess they must have just released it in Europe because it was cheaper than the rest of the world or whatever. Or I guess maybe because they knew that brand was more well known there.
The only other Asterix game I played to date is the Konami arcade brawler. It came out from the same team who did the Simpsons 4-player arcade, the Turtles 4-player arcade, the Bucky O'Hare arcade, and this one, Asterix. An Asterix arcade game. I played it on the real arcade, but then again recently, it's really, really good.
Do they use the same engine for all of those? Because they definitely feel similar, don't they?
Yeah, and it's really fun, and they take a relatively obscure license. Some things get lost in translation. I think a bit like with the Turtles arcade, where or the Simpsons arcade, where Smithers is like this evil genius, or like the psychiatrist working behind the donut stand. But I recommend anybody if they're not. Don't feel like getting their ass kicked by a Master System game, just pick up the arcade one because it's really fun. I guess it was different from what I remembered, but equally fun to revisit it.
Yeah, I find with all games that I used to play as a child, I always thought growing up I'd get better and better at it, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It's like you're turning into your dad or something, and you're suddenly getting old and you're getting crap at games. So
I recommend a daily dose of Mega Man to keep you sharp.
Oh, that's something on my wish list. Oh dear, got Mega Man 9 and that's about it.
I've been playing Mega Man 2 recently, and it was one like the Mega Man series was always a series that I kind of appreciated, but could never ever do anything in it. Like I couldn't beat any of the bosses. So I just sat down and I was like, okay, Mega Man 2 has been my favorite one. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to get really good at Mega Man. So like at least once a week I've been playing a little bit of Mega Man, and I can just about get to Dr. Wily now, but still can't beat him. I'm
very proud of him.
Yeah. It's definitely tough. Like games just aren't, people always say it, but games just aren't like those games now. The amount of precision and kind of memorizing of patterns and stuff is like a skill in itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think my favourite thing about that, though, as opposed to Asterix, which annoyed me in places because of like wonky hitboxes and kind of bad design.
Like,
everything in Mega Man is so tight and so well made that whenever you die, it's just that you've messed up in some way, and you'll be able to fix it next time. And you can jump back in instantly. But yeah, Mega Man 2 is one of my favourites too.
Mm.
But when you've beaten Dr. Wily, then you truly can call yourself a man.
A Mega Man.
A Mega Man.
Brilliant.
Sweet. So, have people had any additions to their collection that they wanted to talk about? I know that I made a purchase I'm super excited about. So, I guess people listening won't know this, but my system of choice is Game Boy. Like, I love everything Game Boy. And I think the reason I first was drawn to collecting Game Boy stuff as opposed to anything else is because I don't think a lot of people really respect the Game Boy, which means you can get stuff super cheap. Like, people just kind of dismiss it, I think, because it's a portable. But there's like some really good stuff on the Game Boy library. And one of the kind of the things that I was really hoping to get was a Game Boy Light. And that was a Game Boy that came out around the same time as the Game Boy Pocket, but only came out in Japan. And the really neat thing about it is the fact that it has a backlight, which never happened to get.
I need one of them with a backlight.
Yeah. So none of the Game Boys had backlights up until the Game Boy Advance SP. But even then, that was a really limited run of the SPs that had backlights.
That wasn't even a backlight. Yeah, I was going to say the main one was just a front light.
Yeah. So
surely, can you mod an original Game Boy to put a backlight in there?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
you can.
Nice.
I kind of wanted it to say that I could complete the collection and be like, I've got all of them now. So if you do ever find one, they're always super, super expensive. But I managed to find two of them, a silver one and a gold one, which is both the colours they did on Yahoo auctions. But it's coming from Japan, so it's going to take a while. But I'll have to talk about it on the group once they arrive. Maybe even do like a restoration video or something, because they're going to need some work. But yeah, that's the only real addition that I've made to my collection, and that's not even here yet. But I'm just super excited about it. I can't wait till.
Well, I've bought some stuff that hasn't arrived yet. I could probably talk about.
Yeah, I think you should talk about the analog pad for the Sega Saturn.
I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm afraid it might spark some kind of bizarre Sega
the mashup video.
But I will say before that, Dom signposted me to a really great deal on some PS2 games. I don't know if anybody saw, but I posted up my PS2 collection on the group, and there was only around 30 games that I needed to have everything that I personally wanted. There's a correlation between the ones that are left and the value of the things, because I try not to spend any money on PS2 games if I can help it. But Dom showed me an auction of a guy who'd posted up, I think he's now a member of the group, Ape Escape 2 and 3 on PlayStation 2 in mint condition,
which was sorely missing from the collection.
Yeah, it was one of my most wanted games. Two of them, but they just go for silly money elsewhere. So I got a really good deal on those. They haven't arrived yet, but I'm really happy to kind of get them. And then speaking to the chap again, I said, "Have you got anything else?" And I managed to pick up a copy of Street Fighter EX3 for the PS2. I was a big fan of EX plus Alpha on the original PlayStation, and I've never played the sequel, but it's getting more difficult to find. So, yeah, I was happy with those three pickups. I officially have 24 PS2 games to get until I'm completely done with PS2.
I just realised what that means.
What?
I'm actually going to be able to finally play Metal Gear Solid in English.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Ape Escape 3 has like a weird crossover with Metal Gear. Because Metal Gear Solid 3 had that like
Monkey Hunt,
yeah, the Monkey Hunt thing, and Ape Escape 3 has like this weird, like, you play as like a monkey version of Snake. And I've had the Japanese version of Ape Escape 3 for years, but could never manage to get to the bit where you unlock that because it was all in Japanese, and I was, you could still do the basics, but I think unlocking it is very specific. So I'll get to give that a try.
Yeah, I'm really happy to. Patrick, do you own a copy of either of those games?
Ape Escape? Yeah, I've got 1 and 2.
Nice.
Found Ape Escape 2 in CEX, to be honest. Fiver.
Wow.
That was probably the best find in that shop.
Yeah. I'm still looking for 1 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Those on eBay fairly cheap if you're looking.
Oh, are
at
they?
Places. Well, yeah. Must got mine for £5.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too
Be
bad.
good to complete the trilogy.
I got a real good deal on the two they got anyway. But yeah, and the other pickup that I got, which I posted on the group last night, and then slowly descended to madness, was my white Sega Saturn analog controller. Which
yes.
I instantly fell in love with. I remember back when it first came out, a friend of mine had the black version with Knights, the pack-in, and you've never played Knights until you played it analog. It was clearly designed from the ground up to have an analog thumbstick for the flying and the looping. I mean, I wondered why I was struggling at times with the D-pad. It's just because you can't. It's tough to do a perfect circle with a D-pad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I only played 10 or 20 minutes last night, but it's just a really nice pad. I'm lucky enough to have all three colours of the Sega Saturn. I've got the grey first edition, the white second version from Japan, and I've got my black UK one. But the colour scheme and everything just matches really nicely with the white Saturn.
I think I'm going to offend some people here, but I've always wanted to like Knights, but never been able to. Like, I found it so frustrating.
No, naughty.
So,
no,
but I think if I try it with the analog pad, maybe I'll mesh with it a little better.
Before you
try it on the Xbox Live Arcade. It's got that.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
there was a PS2 version as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Japan only.
Right. Okay.
But before we talk any more about whether we like Knights or not, the actual analog stick is like no other analog stick I've tried before. The best way I can describe it is kind of like a trackball with some tension that pulls it to a certain point, but then your thumb rests in a groove on top of a kind of ball. So there's a very large surface area to move your finger around on, and it's just nice. I've never really, and the triggers are kind of horizontal with the pad, so you pull them down towards yourself. So it's a really unique pad, and I'm really glad to add it to the collection. But Knights, yeah, not everybody loves it.
No, but it sounds, from the sounds of it, Joe and Patrick are
big fans.
Yeah. Aren't we, Joe? Yes.
I have. I don't think I've actually played Knights.
No. You sold it straight to me. You sold the
Yeah, I bought it and sold it to you. Thought I'd get rid of that crap. I don't like the look of it.
Yeah.
I've always thought it's a very the Knights. What is Knights for a start?
A figment of your imagination.
Like a female jester or what?
He has no gender.
No gender.
No gender.
I always
Right.
assumed that
Okay,
Knights
so
was a man.
It's asexual, whatever it is.
Do you want the real story behind her, he, she, it?
Please.
Do you know like the lore of Knights?
A little bit. I know Knights was originally a nightmare, and then the old turn to good kind of thing, and so yeah. Obviously, all these children go and have their dreams, they get nightmares, and obviously Knights comes along and helps them out.
That's pretty cool.
There's a very partial story. The sequel on the Wii has a lot more story than the Saturn.
Oh, of course, because
I do actually own it, but I've never played it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It doesn't have the arcade goodness of the Saturn, but
I probably know more about Christmas Night's story than the main version.
yeah.
There's a Christmas tree in a town square.
Okay.
The star goes missing, and then they have to go to sleep and dream Knights up. It's a bit like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is Christmas Nights? Is Christmas Nights official like Nights canon, or is it?
Yeah, it's set around Christmas time. It's the same.
I'm only going to play canon Nights games. I refuse to play any spin-offs.
Christmas Nights is really interesting. Actually, it was officially released in Japan as a standalone game, but never sold in PAL territories. It was given away in various formats. I think Sega Saturn Saturn Power or whatever it's called here gave away a copy. The version I have was just that you'll never find a boxed PAL version, so that's why I had to, I don't know if you saw the picture. I've made my own box in a DVD case. I've got the official disc, but and it was, I think it's 1 or 2 levels. can play them in multiple ways, but then as you progress, you open Christmas presents, and the Christmas presents unlock more features on top of that. And I believe if you play enough, you can actually unlock Sonic as a playable character.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yes, Sonic's
That's
the
cool.
character, and Robotnik takes the place of one of the bosses.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so you fight the dragon on the main quest, and then once you unlock Sonic, you get access to the second or third level boss from the main game, but it's reskinned to look like Dr. Robotnik.
It's amazing.
Am I right in thinking that because the Saturn had the internal clock, right? So it does some stuff specifically on Christmas Day too,
Becomes Halloween nights around October.
Oh wow.
It's the same on the Xbox Live version. It does, the exact same features. Played it on Halloween, and Nights gets a nice little, gets black attire rather than a standard purple.
Did anybody play Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast?
Yes, that's how I found out about Nights.
They
Pinball
brought
machine.
they brought a similar concept to Sonic Adventure. If anybody was lucky enough to play the Dreamcast while it was still online, there was downloadable seasonal skins you could get for Sonic Adventure. So the title screen would change to a Christmas theme, and like the Chow Garden, and there would be a Christmas tree, and it was a very, very similar concept. But you'd have to be connected with your 56k modem via dial-up in order to go to Dream Arena and download the skins. But I think I still do have the memory card from back in the day with all that
nice.
data still saved on it.
Wow.
That's something that I wish more games did, because the only one I can think of, other than like Nights and Sonic Adventure now, is Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing has like seasonal stuff, which is always really exciting. Like that is always one of the things that kept me going back to that game. But imagine how cool it would be if, like, imagine your favorite game had special content for certain days, and I don't think it'd be too difficult for them to do.
Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed, when they first released it.
Yeah.
People complaining that Alex Kidd wasn't one of the racers, but then on Christmas Day, if you played the game, it unlocked Alex Kidd, and he had a kind of a
for one day
Christmas
only.
No, for the rest. From that time onwards.
I was going to
That'd
say
be the worst Christmas present ever.
That would be a tease.
That would be awful, but no, they said Merry Christmas. Here's Alex Kidd.
Nice.
So you got that
Just very briefly, I'll tell you a sad Sega Christmas story. The year that Shenmue came out, I spent 6 months, maybe longer, just hyping it up to myself, and I got it for a Christmas present. And I hadn't had my Dreamcast for long, and I didn't know about fixing consoles. You can probably see where this is going. I plugged in Shenmue, and then my Dreamcast blew up.
Wow.
On Christmas. On Christmas Day. I did not come out of my room for the entire day. And then I spent maybe the day after, or whenever the shops had just back open, trudging through the snow, holding my Dreamcast, seeing if anybody could fix it for me.
No sympathy from the podcasters.
Wandering the streets.
I can just imagine like a little urchin.
It's gonna be okay.
We need
Swaddled, like a swaddled Dreamcast, like a little.
Oh dear. We need to make the Christmas Carol, but with this instead.
Yeah.
Instead of Tiny Tim dying, the tiny Dreamcast dead.
I bet that scarred you for life. I'm surprised you went back to a Dreamcast.
I mean, we got it fixed in the end, but it was just the timing of it. Being so hyped up for Shenmue, plug it in, beep. No.
Can't handle the awesomeness that is Shenmue.
Well, I've more than made up for it with my Shenmue playtime since then.
I don't think I can go on after that, but Patrick actually reminded me of my dislike for the controls for Night continues to Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. I love that game, but do you know the Nights level?
Yeah.
I hate that level. Like,
it's the favourite.
It's so bad. Like, it doesn't... Because you're flying the whole time, and the flying's the worst part. It's
I'm
like,
the only one that's good at that level. That's why I always pick it.
see, it must have been all the practice you had at Nights then, because like I suck at Nights, and I suck at the Nights level for Sonic and...
I really want that game
it's so good.
as a Sega fan, and the only version I played is the iPad version.
Oh no, wrong,
Yeah,
sir.
the
The
iPad
PC one
version's terrible.
goes on sale all the time.
Was it?
Yeah.
There we go. do 4-player on that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I see. I'm sure I played it the best way because I had the iPad version and I airplayed it to a TV, and then there was absolutely no latency at all, and it didn't jitter, and
That must have been a nightmare.
it didn't drop the resolution in a horrible way.
Joe, I just remembered actually. You talked about your Game Gear purchases. Would you be willing to discuss, the nightmare that is a bad seller on eBay? Because I loved your little story about what's been going on.
Here's the story. I was trawling through eBay for I was actually looking for a Game Gear adapter because I did own one boxed, and I owned it for about 4 years, and I was holding on to it for the day I actually come to buy a Game Gear. Now, the very day I sold that adapter is the day I got a Game Gear. So I had a Game Gear, and now I needed to buy an adapter despite selling it that day. Okay, but
I don't think you thought this through.
Hey, look,
I didn't think it through very well.
In my defence,
Aaron put me on the spot here, and I blame him. But
in my
anyway,
defence, I've offered to give you back that adapter.
that's all right. I now have one on my way because I was trawling through eBay for one, and I found someone was selling a faulty Game Gear with an adapter. Now I wanted a bit of practice fixing Game Gears, and since it came with an adapter, that was a bonus. I bought it for a grand sum of £2.76, and the postage was £3.20, but still £2.76 for a Game Gear and adapter is very good. It's cheaper to buy them both than to buy one or the other. But then I soon came to find that the seller emailed me saying eBay is restricting the sale because the adapter isn't tested. So what they're saying is they wanted to hold on to the adapter and send just the Game Gear or give me a refund, which I wasn't happy with because the whole point of me buying it was so I could have the adapter.
Can't you get in touch with eBay for that though?
I can do, yes, and I posted on the Retro Revival page to get other people's opinions, so anyone can have a look at that. I posted on the eBay community. Everyone was saying it's all a load of bollocks. Basically, the seller was saying that eBay contacted them saying, let me just read this out here. Emails. Okay, the first message says, now bear in mind this person's username is Maya Happy Girl, so I think it's an 11-year-old. It says, hi there, smiley face. eBay got in touch with me last night and said that I couldn't sell this listing because of a testing that has not been carried out on the adapter, ? Am quite annoyed, misspelled that, and was going to post these today, ... I can still post the Game Gear itself, but not the charging adapter, ? What would you like me to do? I'll refund you the total listing if necessary, and talk to eBay about getting my money back through them, brackets, or I can send you the Game Gear minus the charger and give you some money back, ? I'm so sorry about this, sad face. I only want to accommodate what you need and can't apologise enough on my behalf. But it's really not my fault if eBay is to blame, ? Please let me know what I can do for you ASAP. Thanks.
Sounds
When
legit.
she says she can't apologise, she literally can't apologise.
That was a terrifying look inside the mind of a slightly crazy person.
I know.
That reminds me of, do you know when you'd be in the playground and some kid would be like, yeah, well, my dad works for Nintendo. It feels like a very similar thing to that. I got a message from eBay.
But here's the thing. In the item description, it says, this is my old Sega Game Gear. It's not working. It used to work, but needs fixing. The adapter/charger fits and works fine, as I have tested it in my friend's other Sega Game Gear. So they tell me that it's working and it's been tested on a Game Gear, but they're telling me that eBay emailed them to say you can't send it because it isn't tested.
Tested.
If she's an 11-year-old girl and that's her old Game Gear, that makes her -10.
So what this tells me is they probably sold or gave the adapter to their friend who owns a Game Gear. But anyway, 5 emails later of them repeating themselves and me repeating myself saying I don't care, I want them both. They've now said, I spoke to my boyfriend and he says just send it. So it should be in the post. So, it's just frustrating that they emailed me a week after I purchased and paid for it. So a week later they said I can't send it because yesterday eBay told me I can't.
That sounds like grounds for neutral feedback to me.
You think after a week
would
of
you write
thinking of
down
an
on
excuse,
that?
it would have...
Yeah. I'd love to live in a world where there's enough employees at eBay to troll through every listing of old broken games consoles to we've got to test it. Like, imagine that world.
Yeah.
Supply a certificate.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot more electricians' jobs going, that's for sure.
So, Joe, what are you going to write on the feedback? I'm
God,
sure it'd be
I don't
nice
know.
and polite and...
I might put, this is a very bad person, ? They will not they would not send my adapter, sad face. I might just...
My girlfriend
like
told me
that.
to leave feedback.
Perfect. The only thing is, I'm worried about sending bad feedback because I don't think they've sent me any yet, and I think it would be
you say
unjust.
that you can't send
It would be
feedback,
unjust
you
if
have to
they
get
send me
tested.
bad feedback.
I've definitely been in like that Mexican standoff,
Yeah.
like, where you don't want to leave feedback because you're waiting to see what they'll leave.
Yeah, usually
I
better
always-
off not putting anything at all. But
Unless you think that person is going to be a potential danger to other people, I always just don't put anything if I can't say anything nice.
yeah,
I always get upset though because it always notifies me that I have feedback to leave if I don't leave someone feedback. So I'm like, I've got to do something now.
Dom looked at my iPhone the other day, and I have all the little notification numbers, and it was killing him that I hadn't addressed them. So, but you have a Skype update needs attending to.
Oh man, that would bother me if the eBay was notifying me too.
I was always told not to say anything if you can't say anything nice.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
Unless they are a scammer and you're just warning people. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, as a young eBay noob, I left somebody some negative feedback when I probably shouldn't have, and it scarred me since that day.
Can you remember what the purchase was or what the incident was?
I believe I'd ordered I actually can remember. It was this Dreamcast
Don't pretend.
Dreamcast browser disk 3.0, and
this was long after the time that...
it never arrived, and it just got lost in the post. And then rather than asking for a refund, I just left bad feedback. But this was like when I first set up an eBay account, and I didn't know what the etiquette was.
I'm guessing this was long after the online functionality for Dreamcast was taken offline. It was just for
No.
you. So you were actually
this
going to
was
use
that
it.
long ago.
Wow,
that
okay.
It was when the Dreamcast. It used to be that BT had a stranglehold on the Dreamcast, and you could only sign up to the Dreamcast online using BT. With Dream Key, I believe it was called 3.0.
yeah.
They unlocked so you could use your own ISP, and by the time that came out, it was literally the jump from 1p a minute internet to standard rate of internet. So I could play my Phantasy Star Online.
I remember like that blowing my mind. I remember you being sat in this room that we're recording in now
With my telephone
playing-
cable hanging out the
Yeah,
window.
yeah, and also with the Dreamcast keyboard and being amazed. Like, wait, you're sending messages
Yeah.
to real people? Like that was the craziest thing.
mind
Mind
blown.
blown.
Yeah, like the definition of mind blown.
Patrick or Joe, did you ever have an experience with the Dreamcast Online?
Sadly not. No,
never
I was
had
a
the
latecomer
Dreamcast.
to a Dreamcast. I bought my first Dreamcast about 6 years ago, I think.
Same here, really.
Yeah. Why did I
Took
buy
full
it?
advantage of the online features of the Dreamcast.
I
I
think
say 56k modem, it wasn't even that, it was half of that.
Whoa.
We had 33 point
Wow.
something K.
I bought it for Space Channel. That amazing game.
Yes, Joe,
Up,
that
down,
amazing.
up, down, shoot, shoot, shoot.
Yes, the many fantasies you have with that game.
I dream
Yes.
about that game for some reason.
I love Dreamcast.
Some reason, yeah. We'll never know.
I demand like a live-action remake with Joe in the role of Ulala.
Yes.
And bring
That's
back
it.
Space
Make it
Michael
happen.
from the dead.
You've all heard this, folks. Everyone that hears this, mate, just demand Joe to be in
Sign
that kind
the
of
petition.
dress.
Start a Kickstarter.
That's it. Yes. Right.
It's going to happen.
Space Channel Joe.
Stay tuned, people, for the Kickstarter link.
But
Yes.
yeah, I think the Dreamcast's a good console. I've not played it too much, but it's got some great arcade hits on it. One of my favourites is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer,
Oh.
which is,
Wait,
I think it's...
is it like a
Was it
pod
on
racing
that?
game?
Was it on the
I'm
Dreamcast?
pretty sure I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you can get it on the Dreamcast. I haven't got it on it myself.
You
I've
had
got it on the
Nintendo
N64.
64. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get it for the Dreamcast.
But yes,
So-
I've seen it on Dreamcast. And I find
I seem to have a vague recollection of that game. Does it start in like a Mos Eisley cantina, and then
Yes.
you pick the planets?
that's
Is it
right.
that
Yeah.
one?
That's the one.
That's it.
Oh, I remember that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the
pretty good.
arcade machine. It's so good. It has the
Yeah,
proper seats, the levers.
Our student union, when I was at university, had one. And it's like you say, it's full size with the two cranks.
That's it.
Oh, the
you-
cabinet.
you kind of-
Yeah.
Oh,
Now that's pod racing.
I would love one of them in my bedroom.
There was
Absolutely
a
love
giant,
it.
giant blue boost button in the middle, if I'm remembering
That's
correctly,
it.
that
That's
lit up,
it.
and you used to just slap it, and it would jolt you forward. And yeah.
Joe, how do you think like a converted pod racing arcade cabinet, like full scale thing made into a bed would go down?
If I get enough cardboard
You know
from
what?
work, I can work on it.
Yeah.
Just get the decals and a bit of paint here and there.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing is, if you've got the N64 version, you can plug two controllers in, and there is a cheat code
Oh, yeah.
which allows you to use both controllers to operate your pod racer.
No way.
So you can use
Yeah.
controller 1 in your left hand for the left thrust, and controller 2 in your right hand for the right throttle.
Yeah.
And obviously, then you've got like similar to cabinet controls.
That's it.
I'm sure there's probably videos on YouTube of it, but me and Pat tried
Oh,
it,
yeah.
didn't we? And it's such an
That's it.
experience.
It's good.
Rather
Or check
than
on
just-
YouTube as well.
Yeah,
some,
rather
some
than
bright
using the
spark.
one controller, you've got the two. It's just brilliant.
Great.
I kind of get the feeling it'd be worth like cannibalizing two N64 pads to make like a little joystick set.
Someone's taken
Really?
two controllers and they've two N64 controllers, and you can check this on YouTube, and he's basically molded them together. So it it's brilliant.
like an Anakin's pod paint job too.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be good.
When episode 1 hit, the N64 was kind of like the big thing. I remember there was a Starfighter game for the N64 where before episode 1 came out, the model of one of the ships, maybe Princess Amidala's ship, was in the code, and it got leaked before the movie came out.
Right.
So people managed to find it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And the first Road Squadron was N64 too, right?
Dark Forces.
What's going on in the hangout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
Nice. Well, I actually wanted to. I haven't mentioned this to anyone on the podcast, but I thought it up a minute ago. I was thinking, if anyone's made it this far in the podcast, because we're coming up to the hour mark now, which is probably about long enough. I would love people to maybe. This first video is going up on YouTube, or this first podcast is going to be hosted on YouTube. So I'd love people to comment on the YouTube channel, and if anyone manages to get that far, leave us some comments saying what you'd like us to talk about, or even just comments directed at us, so we can discuss them in a podcast in the future. I think that'd be cool to get some feedback from people and
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
people write in, and even if it's like vaguely retro gaming related, we'll try our best to answer it.
And also, if anybody's interested in joining in with the podcast,
Yeah,
it's,
definitely.
It's a relatively flexible lineup.
I'm interested in Aaron, if you bought Cheggers Party Quiz on my Wii.
Well, if I can find it in CEX, I might be using some of that credit.
It was free
proper
for
party.
2. You can't not.
3 copies of Cheggers Party Quest.
Yeah, exactly. 1 for each of us.
Yeah.
I wonder if
We
there's
found the freebie Friday. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a zone where they're naked. Like in that poster.
Oh dear.
Martin,
I was seriously considering a retro replay of Cheggers Party Quiz, but I don't know if Don would be down for it.
My eyes.
Well,
My
A
eyes.
naked jungle with Keith Chegwin. Let it all hang out.
This is
That's
becoming a
the
whole
bonus.
different conversation now.
That's the bonus unlockable for this one with the 2 sticks.
I don't know how this is going to work on a radio show, but I think it was Joe's just sent over a picture of the modded N64 controller.
Wow.
Just showing Aaron now. He's done a great job, I guess, coating it and spray painting it. It looks really.
Has he done it specifically for that?
There's actually a video of him using it for Star Wars Episode 1
Oh no
Racer.
way!
Yeah.
I'll put a link in the YouTube description for this. The aim is to get these up on iTunes, but you need to have at least one podcast available before they'll accept you. So this week, if people tune in on YouTube,
And then we'll charge
that,
everyone money. Ha ha ha.
yeah,
That's it. That's it.
That's for the non-ad version, Joe.
I'll cough up everybody. That's it. One at a time.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, listeners, and thank you very much, Aaron, Joe, and Patrick, for joining me on the kind of the test podcast.
Second test podcast.
Yeah, second test podcast. We didn't mention that first one. Patrick, I think you're doing the game club this week, aren't you?
I am.
You don't want
Next Monday.
to. I don't want to give away what it's going to be, because I think it's kind of exciting to wake up on Monday and find out what that is. But
It's like Christmas all over again.
yeah, definitely. Christmas nights.
Christmas nights. Dreams do come true.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, people.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.